everybody, welcome back to the CPS Reports, and I'm back with another fight recap of UFC 300, Pereira versus Hill. And this was just arguably UFC's biggest fight card that ever put together. Amazing performances from a lot of fighters. I think from top to bottom, prelims, early prelims, main card, all the fights just fell, just not fell. They all just fulfilled what they said they were going to fulfill. They did exactly what was said, or what was advertised. But let me do it without further ado. Let me kick the main card recap, starting with the main event. Alex Pereira that defeated Jamahal Hill within the first round via TKO. For most people, a lot of the guys thought that this was actually going to happen, being for a lot of reasons. One of them being that Alex Pereira has been the more active fighter between the two, and taking on high-level fighters that are former champions. So I mean, that means he's had in the 2 years claiming 2 belts, defending one of those belts. In this time, that meant that he had opportunities to take on the best guys and beat them, which meant that he was remaining consistent at the highest level. Jamahal Hill coming in. I know in previous episodes I would say that I always rated him. In my mind, he was the undefeated champion at the time. Obviously losing to Paul Craig, but ever since after Paul Craig's fight, Jamahal Hill was on a tear until he hurt his Achilles, and then coming back into this fight, I think it was a tall order. Now, there was something that I noticed that was very different in this fight. Watching all the sort of reactions and conferences that took place after the event, there was only one person really that called out something which I thought was very interesting, and that was Michael Bisping. And what he had said was that Jamahal Hill was completely confident all the way through fight week, up until when he was in the cage. And I also noticed that because I remember when the referee called him in to come in to give them the rules and go over the rules and touch gloves kind of thing, I noticed something very interesting at that point. Jamahal looked like a different person. He actually, for the first time in his entire career, looked like he was a bit like a fish out of water. He looked a little bit freaked out by Alex Pereira. Because before that he was like, I'm gonna whip his ass, I'm gonna knock him out, and all these things that were going on until they were in the cage. And when they were in the cage, Jamahal almost like he kind of not folded, but he showed a lot of respect to Alex. He was just like, okay, he lifted up his fist to touch fists. It was almost like that fire that he had coming into the fight was almost like thrown out the window when he realized in the end, like, we are going to fight now. I think that's when Jamahal could almost look like he conceded. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but it looked like he was willing to concede. Because even when in the fight, he couldn't necessarily get off on the fight. He wasn't able to push Pereira back at all. Pereira had him on the back foot for the whole entire 3 minutes. Jamahal threw a couple of leg kicks, but it didn't do anything. Whenever Pereira, even though he had to switch to throw the leg kick, when he did land, and you could see that an effect on Jamahal. And then I would say about, if I'm not mistaken, I'd say about 35 seconds before the finish, you could see Pereira started to amplify the output, the pressure. He increased all of those things to keep Jamahal going back. It almost like he knew we were coming out for the finish here. And then when Jamahal threw the groin kick, which was a very, very soft groin kick, even Alex Pereira, which I thought was quite funny, signaling to Herb Dean to say, hang on, just hold on, it's not that bad. I'm still fine, step aside. Let's continue. Whether Alex Pereira knew that he was going to knock Jamahal out in that instance, we don't know. But you could argue that leading up to the finish, Alex Pereira was setting it up. He was setting it up very beautifully. I think he threw 3 very hard right straights to the body, very hard right straights that got Jamahal ducking down and coming back up again. It felt like Alex Pereira was setting him up to finish him. If not then, that moment that was going to happen in the first round. And I just think that the whole thing of pushing or signaling to Herb Dean was part of the theatrics. It kind of made for good spectacle to talk about. And then got the beautiful left shovel uppercut, landed it nice and clean, and just took Jamahal off his feet. Similar to, if you actually look at, similar to when Jamahal hit Johnny Walker, it was the same. It did the same movement, like this whiplash back, landed completely out. I mean, Alex didn't necessarily have to throw all those finishing blows, but I mean, we've seen in fights before, if you don't finish your food, you could give the fighter a chance to come back and fight, and then that's when the fighter that was almost knocked out ends up winning. So Alex just went in there and made sure that he made a stamp with that victory. What does this mean now for the two fighters? I think Jamal's still going to be a very good contender. I think Jamal should beat Yuri Prochazka next, 100%. I don't think he should get the rematch against Alex. I think Jamal should fight either Yuri or Prahovic maybe, or not that I it's just lost now. Magomed Ankalaev maybe. One of these guys, that should be Jamal's guys and to fight next. For Alex Pereira, he's got to go up and wait, I think. If there's no guy in light heavyweight for him to defend against in this year, which is most likely going to be Prochazka if they will give him a light heavyweight fighter, because Prochazka just beat a really good contender. If they don't give him Prochazka as a rematch, I think Alex is definitely got to go up and wait and take on Tom Aspinall. And if the UFC is clever, like Mighty Mouse has said, if UFC is clever, make Stipe Miocic and John Jones become a legacy fight. They could even be the co-main event for that event, and then have Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira fight for the heavyweight unification bout. If not one of them, if they don't want to give Alex Pereira the heavyweight title shot, then Alex just got to wait until there's a fight in like heavyweight division or a fight in heavyweight division, because there is still Bon Gamin that's available. Excuse me. There's still Bon. Sorry, I'm sniffing here. It's just my body's still waking up properly from digesting all these events that took place over the weekend. If there isn't anyone, then Tom Aspinall and Bon Gamin's got to go against each other. If not Bon Gamin, Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira is probably going to be the best money fight for the UFC in the heavyweight division, and also for fight fans and stylistically, you want to see that kind of fight. I think Tom Aspinall will pose a good threat for Pereira. Really, I think he would. It's just Pereira is just flawless, man. His leg kicks and the way he sets up the leg kicks, which ultimately leads into his knockout blows, which is often is the left hooks. He's just too good. I don't think there's anyone that can beat him. I mean, Easy did it. Easy caught him nice. But does Easy do that every single fight against Pereira? I don't know. Pereira just looked like a freak in nature coming into this fight, honestly. But top-notch performance for him. Good. He maintains himself as one of the superstars for the UFC, and he can pretty much call out his shots now. I know he wants to go to Brazil. Don't know if he's going to make 301, because which fighter would he take on in 301? Whether Alex Pereira is ready for 301, who would be ready for him to take on in 301? But you guys let me know in the comments who do you think Alex Pereira should fight next. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. And notification bell to help us get to our 500 subscribers. Now let's move it down the list. Zhang Weili and Xioanan. What a fight. Honestly, what a fight. I think Xioanan sets herself up to be a very, very top contender, and she probably will stay in that heat, first or second champion maybe. I think she's definitely solidified herself in that position there, because she knocked off quite a bit of the contenders, and this was a chance. And she's probably going to fight Weili again. They're probably going to fight each other quite a number of times, and not the youngest. They're both 34, so I probably reckon they've got maybe another 3 years on them max. Honestly, 3 years tops for both these fighters, because it's going to be difficult to stay a champion after 35. It's not necessarily the easiest thing. And then also, how many fights do you have in a year? How often are you going to defend your title? These are all very, very interesting questions, and I think both these fighters are going to have to address for their future in the UFC. Weili, they both look like they can be fighting for another couple of years, maybe even longer than a couple of years. But I mean, to be on to be at that level, it requires so much of them. Any fighter really to stay on top. Coming into this fight, my money was on Weili. I think she was the more polished fighter. I think Xioanan did pose a big threat. I did say she was taller. She's got good boxing. She's very physically strong, almost equal. But I did think that Weili was a little bit more powerful in terms of the strength aspect, which paid dividends in this fight. Round 1 and round 2 was clearly Weili's round. I think she 10-8 the second round, if I'm not mistaken, which was just fabulous from her part. In fact, Weili had Xioanan out in the first round. It was very questionable for a lot of people to be like, do you consider that a submission? But she didn't tap, but she was out. The bell rang. She struggled to get up. But I think if Xioanan didn't have the ability to stand up, because the referee did give her a chance to stand up, what's his name? Jason Herzog did give Xioanan a chance to stand up. And I think if she didn't stand up, I think they would have called the fight right there. But the fact that she was able to actually get back to her feet, whether it was shaky or not, she got back up to her feet. And I think that was enough for the referee to say, all right, she's up. We can't give her the 8 count because the ball went. Let's just see if she recovers here in this 30 seconds. And she was able to recover. Yes, they did the whole bridge to the nose thing and got her to wake up, and lost the second round pretty badly. Weili could have finished there in the second round as well. And then in the third round, there was a moment where Xioanan turned it around. She had more crisp boxing. And because the reach was significantly different, she was able to keep Weili at distance with the side kicks to the stomach and the jabs and the right hands. And it landed, and she won that third round quite visibly. Excuse me. She won that round quite visibly. Had 2 takedowns. Round 4 was a little bit more closer, but then you could see Weili had a second win, and she dominated with exchanges in the wrestling exchanges, and then did the same thing in the 5th round, also dominated in the wrestling exchanges, and completely nullified Yan Xioanan in the 4th and 5th round, which then meant that Weili won round 1, round 2, round 4, round 5. That's 4-1 championship performance, and that's been the story of Weili since the loss to Rosa Menendez. Was she basically spent an entire career coming into the MMA after losing that fight to just dedicating it to wrestling and jiu-jitsu, because we know that she's a fabulous kickboxer and striker. She's actually one of the deadliest strikers in her division, in the women's strawweight division. But then adding such a fantastic level of wrestling to a fighting degree just maintains as Weili as the champion, and you can see that. You could see it going to this fight after beating Amanda Lemos, taking out Xioanan now. You can kind of see that Weili's going to be a very, very formidable champion for a long time. Who's next? Xioanan's definitely got to go back and fight some of the contenders again. I think Weili, what will be a very good move for Weili going into the future would be taking on the winner between Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. Champion versus champion, strawweight versus flyweight. I think that's got to be the next move for her. He's trying to solidify a double champ status that will definitely put Weili on the next plateau going forward. But let's move it down the list. Which, for my mind, like I said in the UFC preview that we did, this was going to be fight of the night, and did that. It showed up as advertised. Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway for the BMF title. And like I said, performance of the night, fight of the night, could have even been knockout of the night as well. If you think about it, they could have given Max another bonus, taking on the all-time bonus champion Justin Gaethje. Pardon me, give me a moment. Excuse me. Fight of the night. This fight had me going all over the place. I even celebrated across my lounge area there, where I almost fell on my face on socks, slipping on tiles. I had to catch myself because it was just the performance from my guy, Max Bliss, obviously one of the best fighters in the UFC. A lot of people I sort of counted Max Holloway out after taking those losses to Volkanovski. In that time, I would go as far as to say that Volkanovski was at his peak, and Max was almost, how do you say, not going down, but flatlining his career at that point, because it was like easy, because he almost like reached this level where he just like stayed going at this flatline, just going up against Volkanovski the whole time. While he was going up, Max was flatlining. And then we got to a point where Max was fighting all these contenders off in the featherweight. It got to the point where what's next for him, because he's beaten all the guys he's supposed to fight Volkanovski. He obviously just missed the Poirier train, and he got Volkanovski next. But coming to this fight, Justin Gaethje had, like Maxi said, he had everything. Justin Gaethje had everything to lose and nothing really to gain other than a title fight against Makhachev, which was really on the cards if he didn't take this fight, because he had beat Dustin Poirier previously to this. And then Max, obviously, where it lost to Dustin Poirier, coming into this fight was a different Max Holloway. He shaped up so differently. It was the same Max frame, but just wider, just fuller. But it's the same Max frame, just less body fat when he fought Dustin Poirier. Going into this fight, my heart was telling me that Max was going to win. Something else, like I was looking at the reasons as to who would win, and there was a lot favoring Justin Gaethje. But I mean, he still had to go out and do it. And I remember when Justin Gaethje fought Rafael Fiziev, I thought he had a very difficult time dealing with the pace. Right, going into this fight, I felt like he would have a difficult time dealing with Max's pace as well. Where you had advantage was the power, but then we obviously saw when Max pulled out within the first round. I think it was the first 10 seconds. Max threw a left straight, like a left up straight, and it landed, and it was loud, like a very loud thud. And Justin Gaethje's reaction to that straight was a clear indication that Max's power had equal Justin's. If not, maybe it was actually a bit more powerful, because he had Justin missing every time Justin tried to land his patented step in, duck under, right, left. He missed it every single time. I think he only landed it in the fourth round. Rounds 1 to round 3, Max set himself so far ahead in terms of strikes landed, leg kicks, everything. He just dictated the pace where he wanted it to go. Max, yeah, I landed him out. I stuck him round 1, round 3. It was only round 4 that was competitive, but other than that, I think Max was the clear winner. And I think Justin Gaethje realized after round 1, before Max even broke his nose, you could see it in Justin's face. He was like, I'm in a fight. I'm actually in a fight more than what I expected, because you could see there was a lot of respect in fight week, but coming up into before the fight day, when they're doing the press conferences and those when face-offs, I think like Thursdays and Friday, it looked like Justin Gaethje was slightly overlooking Max. Slightly. Not by a lot, but slightly. His eyes, he thought he was the big and stronger guy, and he was the natural 55er, but Max also looked like a very natural 55er. People forget that Max walking around weight is at 160, almost 170 when he just walks around. Like, he's actually a lot bigger than a 45er. You know, I think 55 could be his natural weight. But obviously he's a powerful guy in 145 as well. So coming into this fight, I think Max fold out enough to make it a lot even in their what do you call it? Their power column. So yeah, Max just looked flawless, man. Everything that he did was just flawless. He was the crisp boxer, like Dustin Poirier said on the night of the fight. He had Justin chasing, he had Justin missing. There was a time in round 4 where Max looked like he faded a little bit. I think the leg kicks could have taken effect in round 4. But even in round 4, when that knockdown that he had, he just popped back up, started popping the jab out, and controlled the fight where he wanted to go. Just a masterful performance. And then to do the signature of Max saying like, "Come, let's go." I felt like he kind of baited Justin Gaethje in there, because he didn't have to do that. He could have just had Justin miss for the remainder of that last like 35 seconds, and then won the fight. But I think he wanted to do the BMF moment of like, let's do this. And shame, man, he had Justin missing everything in that exchange, and Max Bliss came out victorious, which now puts him in a position where he can call out his fight. He can call out who he wants to go against. I think you should wait for the Topuria Volkanovski rematch to finish and then get the winner there. Because Makhachev is going to fight Dustin Poirier now, we know. So he's going to have to wait it out and then see between those two fights which one of the winners he's going to take on, because he puts himself in that position now. Because you can ask yourself, who's he going to fight for the BMF next? You guys let me know in the comments who you think Max should fight next in the BMF. Excuse me, in the BMF title fight. But big up to Max Bliss, man. Big up to Max Bliss. But let's move it down the list. Charles do Bronx taking on Arman Tsarukyan. Massive fight. Listen, AD was the only one really in our preview that said that he feels Tsarukyan's going to win this fight, if you really think about it. Myself and Jed gave the fight to Charles Oliveira. We thought he was the one that's going to come out victorious, but Arman Tsarukyan was the guy. He almost got finished in round 1 at the end of round 3, but he almost got finished in round 1. Survived the guillotine, came out, reversed Charles Oliveira. And I think when he did that, I think Arman realized Arman, I think he realized that he was the more powerful fighter. I think he realized he was the fresher guy, he was stronger, and he knew at this point I can actually beat Charles Oliveira. And he did that. He turned him around. He was dominating the wrestling exchanges, or he wasn't dominating, but he was winning the wrestling exchanges. Landed more vicious elbows in the from top control in round one, in round two. He did it even in round three as well. And then Charles Dosh choked at the end, but Arman signaled, he's like, I'm fine, I'll survive this 15 seconds. And just put on a very good performance when his back was against the wall. Everyone thought he was going to lose. But he said that he called it, I'm going to beat this guy, I'm going to beat Charles Oliveira, and I want Islam Makhachev. But now he has to wait because Dustin Poirier's got that fight. So he's probably going to have to fight. Oh, should he fight back Holloway? I think Arman's probably gonna have to either get Justin Gaethje if Justin wants to do that again, come back and go for a run for the title. He's probably gonna have to fight Justin Gaethje. Beating Charles Oliveira means that he sets himself up for either number one contender or he fights against the loser or winner of Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier. But top performance, just top performance from Arman Tsarukyan. He looks like he's undeniably going to be the guy that's going to have to fight for the title. Put it that way. Arman looks undeniable now. He's going to have to he's going to have to get the guys at the top of that food chain. So just a masterful performance. So lastly, the last fight I want to talk about is Deveison Feguiredo versus Cody Garbrandt, the opening fight of the entire card. A lot of us felt like that the fight should have been on the main event, or at least been like, not main event, been on the main card, sorry. If not the main card, at least the fight, the featured bout on the prelims, somewhere up there, but not the opening bout. But anyway, the phenomenal opening fight regardless. I think the fight took place exactly where I thought it was going to go. I felt that Cody Garbrandt's boxing would have been a bit too fast, a bit too powerful, which it was for the most part. In fact, he won the first round clearly with the boxing exchange because it didn't really go to the ground. And then in the second round, the beginning of the second round, again, Cody Garbrandt was winning in exchanges of all the boxing exchanges. And actually, there was a few times we had Deveison rocked, but it didn't discourage Deveison. Deveison then took Cody down and completely just out jiu-jitsu'd him, like dominated in terms of the butterfly hooks. Butterfly hooks, he first had the mount and then turned him down, turned Cody into his back, then controlled Cody by having very heavy hips. And then ultimately like snatched in the rear naked and just pardon me, just choked Cody Garbrandt out. Unlucky for Cody because Cody really felt that this was his time to come back and solidify himself and go for another title run. Unfortunately, he lost to Deveison Feguiredo. Deveison Feguiredo is a top of the food chain kind of athlete. People forget that he was a champion and he took on very, very good fighters in the flyweight division. And then coming up to bantamweight, it looks like he still is a bit too small, but not by much. I mean, he carried the power up for sure. It looks like he has a bit of a better gas tank than he had in the past, and I think he might just be a problem in the bantamweight division. So that does mean that Deveison Feguiredo now can go up and take on the top 10, take on the top 5, and maybe go for it under the bantamweight title. I think the bantamweight has got some really good top 5 guys, which potentially could be where Deveison struggles. But I mean, I would never really count out Deveison Feguiredo as well. I mean, Deuce together is just an absolute machine, and I'm wishing him all the best for this run at the bantamweight for sure. But that's all the time I have for this episode, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay in touch with our latest content and help us get to our first 500 subs. And then we will see you on the next one where we do our next fight preview and recap event. On that note, guys, stay safe, stay humble, and then well done, Max Bliss. Until then, I'll see you. Cheers.